and welcome to TBC News. Our top stories tonight. New impetus to food security agenda as Tanzania and IFAD set to scale up climate-smart agriculture CSA.
So it's very important to hear what are the priorities and how can we support the food self-sufficiency and the food security.
CCM Zanzibar eyes more strategic investments to ensure self-reliance. Good evening, I'm Agnes Tuniga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBC Online. President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, is expected to depart for Kampala, Uganda tomorrow, May 12, 2026, to attend the inauguration ceremony of Uganda's President-elect Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. President Museveni was re-elected to lead Uganda for another 5-year term during the country's general election held on January 15, 2026. President Samia's visit reflects the long-standing brotherly and historic ties between Tanzania and Uganda, which are founded on unity, solidarity, good neighbor, and regional cooperation. Prime Minister Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba today has met and held talks with the President of the International Fund for Agricultural Development, Alvaro Lario, in Nairobi, Kenya, where they discussed various areas of cooperation in the agriculture sector and economic empowerment. During the discussions, the two sides emphasized scaling up efforts to help farmers adapt to climate change by embracing climate-resilient agriculture, agribusiness development, integrating digital technologies into agricultural production to increase efficiency, as well as strengthening economic initiatives for women and youth in rural areas. Here are more details.
Prime Minister says Tanzania remains committed to continue its partnership with the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, to implement the Agriculture and Fisheries Development Program, AFDP. This collaboration focuses on boosting sunflower production to reduce the nation's reliance on imported edible oil.
First of all, it has been a very productive meeting because we have had long-standing partnership with our colleagues from IFAD. In the past, we have worked together on various projects, especially in the production sector. At the moment, we are looking forward to continuing this cooperation in different projects, including BBT and the projects in areas where we plan to increase production. Some of the areas we intend to focus on include sunflower production, particularly because we still rely on importing cooking oil from outside the country.
IFAD continues its collaboration on livestock and marine products in Zanzibar to boost the blue economy, providing modern equipment and financial support for seaweed and sea cucumber farming.
We also expect to collaborate with them in the livestock and marine production sector in Zanzibar, where we have previously worked together under the area programs.
On the other hand, the IFAD President Alvaro Lario says that they will continue to ensure that IFAD's plans and their implementation are aligned with the goals of the Tanzania National Development Vision of 2050.
We always want to be aligned with the National Development Plan, so it's very important to hear what are the priorities and how can we support the food self-sufficiency and the food security components and the value addition in Tanzania. So we'll be very keen to hear also how we can make that happen, and that's also an opportunity of continuing working together on the rural transformation.
The partnership between the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, and Tanzania is a long-standing strategic collaboration aimed at transforming the agricultural sector, reducing rural poverty, and enhancing food security. As of early 2026, IFAD has invested approximately $2 billion in Tanzania since the partnership began in 1978.
Meanwhile, in a continuation of the TBC's special interview with the President of Zanzibar and Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, and the discussion now turns to Zanzibar's economic vision and debt management strategy. Let's get more details.
President Mwinyi explains his long-term ambition of living Zanzibar with a minimal debt burden, while at the same time ensuring that key development projects continue to move forward. He outlines the government's specific strategies aimed at reducing and managing public debt efficiently without slowing the pace of economic growth and infrastructure development.
I
have always said that whenever you borrow, it is important to establish a proper repayment system. As a government, every month after collecting revenue, we first set aside funds for debt repayment before allocating money to other sectors. This gives confidence that the loans we take will be repaid sustainably, as long as the system continues.
Furthermore, President Mwinyi sheds light on how the government benefits from imports despite lower prices, including how taxation and levies are structured to maintain revenue collection while encouraging business and trade growth.
Perhaps I should also mention that there are certain products that people travel to the mainland to purchase from Zanzibar, while for other products, people come to Zanzibar instead. This depends on import levels and cargo clearance efficiency. Delays at ports increase costs through storage and other charges, making prices higher in one place than another. That is why people move from one side to another in search of better prices.
Furthermore, Dr. Mwinyi provides an in-depth explanation of how Zanzibar secures loans and financing for major development projects, emphasizing the government's approach to sustainable borrowing and investment in strategic sectors of the economy.
Zanzibar ina taratibu kadhaa za kukopa.
Zanzibar has clear borrowing procedures. One mechanism is through the United Republic of Tanzania, where loans are secured under the Union government guarantee for projects such as roads and aircraft acquisition. Since coming into office, I also introduced a system allowing Zanzibar to borrow independently through local banks. The banks secure loans abroad and channel the funds to the revolutionary government of Zanzibar. This system has worked successfully because the banks trust Zanzibar repayment capacity and are now more willing to provide financing for government projects.
Stay tuned for more from this exclusive TBC interview as President Mwinyi continues to share his vision for Zanzibar's economic transformation, investment opportunities, and future development agenda.
Tanzania continues to hold the world's largest lion population, strengthening its reputation as one of Africa's leading wildlife conservation nations, with a total population of more than 17,000 lions, mostly found in the Serengeti National Park and the Ngorongoro Crater. Wildlife experts say the achievement reflects years of strong conservation efforts led by the government in partnership with conservation organizations and local communities. Speaking from Serengeti in Arusha region, wildlife researcher Ikanda Dennis from Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute says Tanzania's success comes from protecting natural habitats and enforcing anti-poaching measures.
Very key reasons why there are so many lions in this country, and one of those is that there has been sufficient space set aside for them. As you will know, that Tanzania has dedicated over 1/3 of the land space for wildlife conservation, and by virtue of this space, which we're talking of over 300,000 square kilometers, then lions as large mammals, as large predators are very well able to roam across the different category of protected area. But the second reason also is the availability of prey. Alongside large number of lions, Tanzania also prides of having the largest abundance of key lion prey species, such as the African buffalo, which, like the lion, Tanzania holds over 60%.
He also adds that maintaining a healthy lion population is important not only for biodiversity but also for preserving the balance of ecosystems in national parks.
Lions are a major asset to Tanzania's economy, especially the wildlife-based economy through tourism. In many of its national parks, there are plenty of lions and they occur in significant densities, allowing tourists to easily see them. For example, Ngorongoro Crater and Lake Manyara hold one of the world's largest, highest density of lions. And what this means is that they are more visible and they're easily seen by tourists, making these two parks, together with Serengeti, major tourist destinations for ecotourism in Tanzania.
And now in Studio 2, let's join my colleague Esther Dels, who will take us through the data of the last 3 years of lion population worldwide, according to the World Population Review.
Thank you so much, Agnes. And today we are going to have a closer look of the global population of lions. And this is a research that was done by the World Review Population, whereby Tanzania leads into this whole research, whereby it has the highest number and it's hosting between 14,500 to 17,000 lions. But also we'll have like a freestyle interpretation of the top 5 leading countries with the highest number of lions. So let me just take you through this. And on top of that, whereby the researcher Dennis said, like, what's the reason behind Tanzania having this huge number of lions compared to other numbers? First of all, I have to remind you that most of lions are found in the eastern and southern part. In Tanzania, locational-wise, it's in the both east and southern part, which it favors it in the location. So let's take a look. As you can see this chart here, whereby we're looking on 2024, 2025, and 2026. Okay. So as we can see that in 2024, Zambia had the least lions, as you can see here in my graph. And for some reasons, there are different reasons. As I say, the researcher gave a reason for Tanzania having the highest number. But I'll give you another reason that involves the deliberate efforts, credit to the Tanzania National Park Authority, but also other stakeholders like wildlife conservation agencies, that they make sure they advocate anti-poaching policies, but they also involve the local communities in conservation activities. But let's look back in Tanzania. In 2024, it had 14,200. Then we have an increase here of 300 lions. Then in 2026, it shoots until 17,000, whereby it's an increase of 17.2% increase. So, but we also have South Africa, we also have Botswana, and we also have Kenya, our neighbors. For the sake of proximity, let us focus here in Kenya, whereby we can see in 2024 they had 2,450, whereby there was an increase of 65 lions, and they maintained it in 2026. But when we relate the gap that is current between Tanzania and Kenya, currently we see Tanzania has estimation of 14,500 to 17,000, and Kenya has 2,515, whereby it's a huge gap of 11,985 lions. That's almost 476.5% gap. So here is the chart, but also I'll take you through to the top 5 list countries with the least population of lions in my next slide. Yes, in my next slide we'll have these countries with the least lions population worldwide. As you can see, Gabon has only 2 lions. So we should not take for granted Tanzania having 17,000 while their countries having only 2, where we see Central African Republic having 10, then we have Malawi 17, Senegal 30, Angola 35, Rwanda, which is also in East Africa, but just have a total of 40 lions, and Nigeria having 50 lions. But also, as you can see, according to the World Population Review, says that Tanzania has about 40%, but some research extended to 60% of the world's remaining wildlife. And according to the recent estimates by the World Population Reviews, it says that globally, the whole total number of lions is almost 30,000 and 30,000, yes. It approximates into that number. But also, apart from other African countries, it's only India that has native wild lions, because all this data comes from African countries. And if you look even the chart of the World Population Review, you'll see that apart from other African countries, it's only India. And native means that they originate from that location. That's where we see other countries, they import lions and they take them to zoos. So what does this mean? What does this mean, Tanzania having the huge population of lions? First of all, economically, it's boosting our tourism sector, whereby we're attracting more tourists in Tanzania to come in safaris so that they can witness this lion in their natural habitats. So it's my call to you, my fellow Tanzanian, to be really to be really proud of these numbers, because it's our own inheritance and it's our responsibility to actually protect this, because protecting these lions means that we are protecting the environment, we are protecting our tourism sector, but we are also protecting our identity. Back to you, Agnes.
Thank you very much, Esther Dels, for that update, of which is the data of the last 3 years of lion population worldwide, according to the World Population Review. We appreciate that. The Minister of State in the Vice President's Office for Union and Environment, Hamad Masauni, says the government of Tanzania is intensifying efforts to position the country as leading player in Africa's emerging carbon trading market. He says the move will involve strategic investment in modern systems at the National Carbon Monitoring Center, aimed at accelerating economic growth, attracting global investors, and delivering direct benefits to citizens through environmental conservation projects. Caroline Maleo reports.
He made the remarks in Dar es Salaam ahead of this year's World Environmental Day commemorations, emphasizing that the 6th phase government under President Samia Suluhu Hassan continues to implement bold environmental reforms through the 2021 environmental policy, focusing on climate resilience, forest conservation, clean energy transition, and pollution control, as Tanzania strengthens its role in regional and global climate action efforts.
The 6th phase government, under the leadership of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of United Republic of Tanzania, has continued to demonstrate strong commitment in practice toward implementing the environment conservation agenda and addressing climate change through the National Environmental Policy of 2021 and its implementation strategy, as well as various plans and initiatives. The government continues to strengthen efforts in key areas, including forest conservation through the sustained tree planting campaigns, the promotion of clean and alternative energy use, and the control of environmental pollution.
Furthermore, Masauni notes that Tanzania's newly launched development vision, DIRA 2050, has placed environmental protection and climate change resilience at the center of the country's long-term transformation agenda.
Vision of 2050 has recognized and established strong strategies for environmental conservation and management through its 3rd pillar, which focuses on environmental protection and climate change resilience, with the goal of ensuring that by 2050, Tanzania become one of the leading nations in environmental conservation and sustainability. Using this important World Environment Day platform, I call upon fellow citizens to intensify efforts in protecting the environment by undertaking various activities, including tree planting and conservation, accelerating the use of clean cooking energy, promoting sustainable land used for productive activities and expanding environmental education to the public.
This year's World Environmental Day commemorations are being held under the theme, Vision 2050, let us take responsibility in greening Tanzania. A call urging communities to actively participate in environmental protection in order to promote sustainable national economic development. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Caroline Maleo, TBC News.
TBC1, ukweli na uhakika. Zanzibar ni kisiwa cha marashi ya karafuu.